Hey, Jamie here, and welcome to part 2 of Module 8, where we're going to be diving into channels 3 and 4, which are focused on recruiters and creative means. So we're going to understand channel 3, which is recruiter outreach. We'll talk about both corporate recruiters as well as headhunters, and then we're going to understand how to target and directly reach out to those corporate recruiters, as well as how to best use the headhunters to your advantage, because I'll describe why there's a conflict of interest between you and the headhunter. And then also we're going to break down what is channel 4, creative means, and how to think about that. Awesome. Okay, so going back to this triangle, we're focusing on 3. So direct recruiter outreach. So you're either reaching out directly to the human resources team. So think of that as the internal hiring managers or the recruiters within your target companies, or you're reaching out to third-party recruiters, which are outsourced staffing and recruiting agencies. So the corporate recruiters are inside of your target companies, and they're either a part of the HR division or the people operations division, whatever the company calls it. And they're the ones that are responsible for the recruiting process. So they're putting together the ATS system, which is applicant tracking system. They're the ones doing the resume reviews, the screening of candidates, the initial interviews, and then putting people into the formal interviewing process with the team itself, whoever's hiring. And then they're also the ones to pass the best candidates to the internal managers. And then eventually, usually they're the ones you're communicating with as well for the hiring decisions, the offer letters, negotiation, anything like that. And then you have headhunters. And these are third-party recruiters and staffing agencies that partner with companies who have hiring needs. So you can think of them as outsourced recruiting and staffing or outsourced HR. And the way that these headhunters are paid is they're paid as a fixed percentage by the company for the candidate's first year's salary. So what I mean by that is, let's say that you're hired and a headhunter finds you and the company hires you for $100,000. Well, that headhunter, that staffing and recruiting agency might be paid 10% or 20% of your first year annual salary, of your first annual salary. So that staffing and recruiting agency might make $10,000 or $20,000 on your placement. So this is important to realize that how the recruiters are incentivized is very different. Corporate recruiters are incentivized to do what's absolutely best for the company, find the absolute best talent possible for the company. And whether or not they hire you, they're not going to be paid any differently. So their sole incentive is to find the best talent possible for the company. Now, when you work with a headhunter, there's a side incentive because the headhunter is not getting paid by you. It usually does not cost you anything to work with a recruiter, an outside staffing and recruiting agency. But that means that you're not the number one top priority for the headhunter. You're second in line. You are the second priority because their bills are actually being paid by the company. So the recruiter, the headhunter will do what's best for the company more often than they will do what is best for you. And a perfect example of this is they also earn spread. So they get a fixed commission when they actually place you into a company, but then they also can earn a spread. So let's say that the company says, okay, we are looking for somebody on this team. We're budgeting $100,000 for the position, and we want you to find someone to fit this position as quickly as possible. So that headhunter is going to go to their database, and they're going to pull up, 50 to 100 people that immediately match what the company is looking for. So background, experience, skills, whatever. And then they're going to go through those 50 to 100 people and maybe choose 30 to initially reach out to, feel whether or not that person's interested, and if they are, then they put people through a first round with them. Well, let's say that headhunter gets you to go through the interview process with the company and you get the job. The headhunter is going to be the one that reaches out to you and lets you know that you got the job. They're the line of communication because rather than initially saying, hey, yeah, this company is willing to pay $100,000 for the position, instead what they're going to say is, they're willing to hire you for $92,000 or $94,000. And they're incentivized to actually get you to sign the offer at a lower salary, at a lower compensation structure, because one, they're saving the company, which is their true client, they're saving their client money, but two, they are rewarded for that spread. So if they sign you on for $92,000 when the company was really budgeting $100,000, that's $8,000 in spread. The headhunter, that staffing and recruiting agency, might make the full spread or a certain percentage of the spread. So it's super important for you to realize that yes, it's helpful, and we'll talk about what are the benefits of working with a headhunter, but it's super important for you to know, use them as a tool. They are not your best friend. Yes, they want to help. Of course, many of these headhunters are really good people. They have good hearts. They do want the best for you, but they will never bite the hand that feeds them. And the hand that feeds them is the company. The company is paying their bills, their income, keeping them employed. So never forget that although they want to help you, at the end of the day, they're going to help themselves first. And that means helping the company more than you. So direct outreach to corporate recruiters. So focusing on the people within the target companies who truly work for the company. How you're going to want to reach out to them is twofold, and you're going to want to do them at the same time. So the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to find the corporate recruiter, and sometimes their title on LinkedIn isn't corporate recruiter or recruiter. Sometimes it's talent acquisition or some other type of title similar to that. So you're just going to want to find those people that have talent acquisition or recruiter or hiring manager or something along those lines within your target company on LinkedIn. Similar to how you found the contacts, you go to the company's homepage, you click people, and then you search for talent acquisition or recruiter, hiring manager, etc. You're going to find those people, and then you're going to do exactly like you did previously. You're going to send a connect add note message. And what that connect add note message is going to look like is something similar to this. Very straightforward, very straight to the point. Hi, Emily, I'm interested in the open financial analyst position or the open marketing manager position. The recruiter needs to know specifically what position you're focused on, because that recruiter might be working with 15 different positions. So they need to know immediately what you're focused on at their company and would really appreciate speaking with you. My background includes, and then this is where you need to show them that you actually are a good applicant and that they should actually take you seriously. They should accept your request. They should look at your profile. The way that you're going to do that is you're going to show them that you have 3 desirable qualities that you know that they're looking for. And you've already done this because you've already done your strategic positioning. You know what they're looking for. You know what the 3 most important qualities they want. So you're just going to want to plug those in your initial message, your connect add note message to the recruiter. And then again, you're going to ask the small little question to finish with, would you be willing to connect with me? Thank you, your first name. So after you've sent this connect add note message, then what you want to do is you want to immediately follow up by reaching out to them, most likely using email. And you're going to want to attach your resume, and the actual content of the email is going to be what I call a cover letter email. So it's going to be very, very similar to your actual cover letter, but it's via email. And the reason you don't want to send an email and then attach your cover letter as a PDF and then attach your resume as a PDF is the sole purpose of the cover letter is to get them to read your resume. And then the sole purpose of the resume is to get them interested enough that they want to set up a call with you. So by sending them an email directly after you reach out to them on LinkedIn, you send them an email along these lines, which is essentially your cover letter in an email format, and then you attach your resume. Well, the request that we're making at the bottom of this is, if you have 15 minutes, I'd really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you. Please find my resume attached and thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, your first name. So they're going to read this and they're going to say, so this person sounds pretty interested. They know exactly what position they want. They know why they want to work for our company. And they've given me 3 good reasons for why they would be a great fit for this position. Then they're going to read that and go, okay, well, what does their resume look like? They're going to open up your resume, Superman scan through that, skim scan, and then eventually read. And then if they're interested, they're going to reach out and say, yeah, let's set up a call. So that's how you work with corporate recruiters. That's how you do direct outreach to people that are recruiters within the company. Now, in terms of headhunters, how do we want to work with and use headhunters as a strategy, as a tool, not as a crutch? Do not rely on headhunters. Use them strategically. So one is you're going to Google search staffing and recruiting agencies in locations. So whatever city you want to work in, it could be where you're currently based out of, or maybe you want to transition. Maybe that's one of your career advancement goals is you want to move to a city, so Chicago or Austin or San Francisco or New York or Miami or Denver, where I'm at, any of these different places. So and the reason you're searching by location is because a lot of staffing and recruiting agencies, they need to set up partnerships with companies. And because they need to do that, they need to be local or they need to be regional. Now, there are some staffing and recruiting agencies that are really large and they're national. Some are even international. But many of the staffing and recruiting agencies are regional. So maybe they're within one state or just within one city. So you're going to have that search on Google. And then you're going to find multiple different staffing and recruiting agencies. And some staffing and recruiting agencies are very specific to one line of work. So sometimes there are accounting staffing and recruiting agencies. Sometimes there are consulting staffing and recruiting agencies. And some are engineering focused. So you're going to find all sorts of different types of agencies. And some are just a mixed bag where they work with everybody. So you're going to want to find the ones that are relevant to you and in your line of work. Go to their website, and there's almost always a resume submission portal. And so you're going to submit your resume. And then sometimes they also ask, ideally, what are you looking for in your next position? So you'll describe your target position as well as target companies. Okay, so in terms of what that looks like, so I did a simple search in Chicago, so staffing and recruiting agencies in Chicago. And you can see this is essentially what's going to pop up when you do this. It popped up with probably 20 to 30 different types of staffing and recruiting agencies. And as I started going through the pages, there were all sorts of different types for accounting, for consulting, for finance, for engineering, for software developers specifically, for sales, etc. So how do we want to think about headhunters? What are the benefits? Well, one, keep this in mind that you're going to be so far ahead of other people who reach out to these headhunters. So immediately you're going to be very interesting to them. Most of the people who reach out to headhunters, they don't have a resume put together. Their LinkedIn is atrocious. They have no idea what they want to do in their professional career or even in their life. And they don't know how to sell themselves. They've done no research. They've done no networking. They're literally starting from ground zero. And so these headhunters oftentimes go, oh boy, this is a lot of work. Here we go. And then they have to help someone it's almost like they're doing part resume writing, part trying to help people figure out what they want. But the thing is that they're not paid to do that stuff. So they really don't do it well at all. They just do the bare minimum to get you into the system, and then they forget about you because they're not paid to help people create resumes. They're paid to place people. So when you come in, you're going to have everything done. And they're going to go, wow, you are a golden gem. We want you. And they're going to immediately be interested in you because you're going to have an outstanding resume. Your LinkedIn looks professional. It's written. It sells you. And you're already prepared for interviews. They're going to ask you questions. You've already done your interview prep. So you're ready to walk in and crush. Well, as the headhunter, they love that because they could place you in a day. They could place you in 3 days, 5 days, a week. And that means that they get their commission check very quickly. So they would love you as an ideal candidate. Now, two, you're also going to be a top candidate in their database. So when they put you into their database, so your resume, as well as your LinkedIn profile, you're going to be significantly better or much more better, losing words here. It's better written than other applicants in the database. So because of that, when they're writing through their queries and searching for people in the database, yours is going to pop up consistently because you're already optimized. And that's important for them as well. And then for you, the major benefits for you is threefold. You get free opportunities because you're not paying for these opportunities that these headhunters are presenting to you. So you get more interview practice. If you need a sustenance bridge, well, these headhunters will gladly provide opportunities for you because they know that you're going to be able to get through the interviews very quickly. So if you're in need of a sustenance bridge and you need a job quickly, these headhunters are a phenomenal source of opportunities for that. You also get negotiation leverage. So what this means is, let's say that you're going through a interview process, you get an offer. Well, now if you're going through a second interview process and you get that offer, you can now use one offer as leverage for the other offer to improve or to negotiate a higher compensation because you're now in demand. You now have two competing offers. Well, when you have competing offers, you have negotiation leverage. So that's a strategy. Using headhunters to get more offers, which means that you can then use those offers as leverage for the offers that you actually want to accept, but negotiate a higher compensation. So really what that means is when you use a headhunter, as long as you're using them and they're not using you, it's a win-win for you. You get more practice, you get more leverage, and you also get free opportunities, free options if you need a sustenance bridge. So the last thing that I want to mention about the headhunters is do not plan on them to have the opportunities that you want with your target companies. Now, there is a rare chance that they might have that, but more often than not, those headhunters, because of the partnerships that the recruiting agency has with companies, they're just going to be providing opportunities that have come to them. Whatever's available on their desk, that's what they're going to be pushing in front of you. So most likely it's not going to be your target companies. It might even be smaller companies that you've never heard of. That's relevant position-wise to what you're looking for. So more practice, more leverage, and free options, but most likely it's not going to be your target position or target companies. Okay, so now we have channel 4, creative means. And I'm not going to spend too much time on this because there's an infinite number of ways of what this could potentially look like. And think of creative means as any means of getting an opportunity for a position or a career path where it wasn't networking, it wasn't recruiter outreach, and it wasn't through an online application. So any unconventional method of getting an interview. So that might be through meetups. So it could be a group activity, it could be volunteering, it could be anything where you're meeting up with a group of people who share a common interest. It could be through a type of competition or a training seminar or an industry seminar. I've heard stories of people sending packages with something that they know that someone liked, and they included their resume in there, so they sent direct mail to someone. It could be through publicity or through social media, personal projects. So there was someone who I previously worked with who spent probably over 100 hours building out a model in Excel for a finance position, and then sent the model out to several of the relationships that they had been networking with. Once people saw how good the model was, all of a sudden he started receiving opportunities to interview. So that was an example of using a personal project to his advantage. Could be through community projects or through volunteering or mentoring. So if you have a relationship where someone really likes you, but they don't have an opportunity for you themselves, maybe they put you in touch with someone else. It could be through university affiliations, traveling, etc. So any unconventional method. And this is where it's on you to be creative. So as a summary, your 4 channels for creating career opportunities are professional networking, online applications, direct recruiter outreach, both corporate and headhunters, and then creative means or any other type of unconventional method. Now, 80% of your energy should be focused on the networking. It's the most effective and the most efficient way to create your own career opportunities. And I want you to keep in mind that just because the position isn't open right now doesn't mean that you actually know whether or not it's open. So a lot of people see online that no position is posted, but that doesn't actually mean that the position isn't available. If someone really likes you within the company, they might create a position for you. And I've seen this multiple different times where someone says, we don't have a position open right now, but you seem like such a fantastic candidate, and I can see the value that you'd be able to provide us. Let me see if I can talk to my manager or go to the committee and see if we can actually create a position for you. And I've seen that happen multiple times. So just because a job isn't posted online doesn't mean it's not available. So professional networking might actually create opportunities that previously didn't even exist. So networking is your best friend. 80% of your energy dedicate to that. And then as a summary, how they all fit together is most of your energy is going to be committed to the company itself. The only kind of outside focus that you're going to have is on channels 3 and 4, where you're reaching out to third-party recruiters or headhunters, or if you have any other type of creative means for getting an interview. So I know Module 8 was shorter than other modules, but the most important thing to keep in mind is when you feel confident that you're ready to interview, this is your arsenal. This is your order of prioritization of how you want to immediately start reaching out and trying to get interview opportunities. So you feel ready to go. The very first people that you start reaching out to try to find interview opportunities is your professional network. After you've reached out to your professional network, then you do online applications. After you've finished online applications, then you start reaching out to recruiters, corporate recruiters first, and then eventually headhunters. After you've reached out to the recruiters, then you want to start focusing on creative means. So that's kind of the waterfall flow of how you want to be investing your energy in getting interview opportunities. So awesome. That's it for Module 8. In Module 9, we're going to start diving into interview prep. So I'll see you in Module 9.